Hey, how you doing? Good night. I am, as ever, Brother Johnny German Alcock, and we are on another bit of discussion in relation to goal planning, vision planning, and everything in between. Tonight's discussion will be quickly about how you can use vision boards to plan for things. And the opening screen you would have seen had a question in relation to can vision boards or can Christians use vision boards? Of course, the reason why that is because many people see parts of the secular world and then worry or concern themselves if what that entails is something that should not be included in what you do in a faith-based manner. But if you look quickly on the screen, you will see that in Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 2, Habakkuk is a book of the Bible in the Old Testament. It says, "And the Lord answered me and said, Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it." And it is a scripture that I've reflected on a lot, but I started to reflect on it more during the 2023, early 2023 period when I wrote a book entitled How to Achieve Goals Fast with Strategic Planning, 10 Proven Tips for Success. And in this chapter, it goes very deeply into how Habakkuk was having some visions of some things that would happen, and that how the word of God, when it is spread forth, can eventually come to the fullness of what that means, which is peace. But before it got there, there was this phrasing in verse 2 that said, "And the Lord answered me." So, what was going on there was that Habakkuk was speaking to God or trying to ask Him for things and make Him give him some clarity on some issues. And what eventually did happen was that the Lord answered him and said, Write a vision or the vision, make it plain so that though whoever it is that is seeing it or looking at it can run and do the task required. And if you think closely about that, you will see that it reflects a lot on those who take out the nice pictures out of magazines or paste something. You know, when you were at school, I used to paste these pictures and these nice things into your scrapbook, or you are given an art and craft exercise and you put some things together so that it displays into a uniform creation. It is the same thing that a vision board does. All a vision board is something that you've imagined and you're trying to plan towards it. And you put things there that give you a visual impetus or a stimuli to the possibilities of what those could entail. And some people query and say, do vision boards really work or are they bogus? And many of the studies and things that are in journals has shown and they do postulate and they assess and have found out that when people put these visions together and write out the things on the board and put the pictures and figure out a path towards a specific project, either for themselves individually or for an organization or a group, that it tends to cause that organization or the group or the individual to be able to reach to the goal, one, quicker, and two, to be more likely to reach the goal. What is actually happening is that your brain starts to have something embedded in there that causes the imagination to now become a thing. Yes, thoughts or imaginations or dreams or visions. can become things. But how it translates from your mind and the subconscious area and the places where you sleep and you figure out things in different wave patterns. So when you sleep, there are different phases and waves that happen, big terms such as alpha and beta and theta and sigma and delta. And when you go into a medical clinic, sometimes they may need to measure your brain waves for a specific reason. If you have a specific mental or cognitive or brain condition, and it's done through an EKG. But what you see is actually the pulsating movements of neuronal activity. And what happens when you are translating that into something visual is that your brain, the scientists have found, cannot differentiate between something that is imaginary and put on paper or put into the real world versus what is actually in the real world. So it is kind of a trick, quote unquote, or a cognitive um, push for you to present things that you're trying to figure out or plan and then put it into physicality. That's how it works. Not really like a magic kind of trick or some sort of sit down and you're gonna do something simply because you put the paper there. It's because of how your brain works and how your mind connects to things that enact things out into the atmosphere. Now, how do I make my vision board come true? So after the visualization, after the planning, after you've set some goals, and after you've decided that you can go out and do some things, now you have to form what they call habits. We spoke the last time we had a stream like this. Did you miss that? I had a stream last time that said, how is it that you keep motivated to achieve your goals even when you don't want to? And motivation is a thing that you have to do over and over and over so that you build up the impetus or the push to want to do the things, even at the point when it feels like there's a struggle or there are challenges or you don't feel well or something around you happens or there's a problem in your family or your community and it's a bit more difficult to do what you were setting out to do. Motivation will help you to get there. But the next thing which is important is that after the goal setting, you have to now build up habits that form for you to do the right things to then get to the goal. The first week, we spoke about a quick method to utilize a SMART method, SMART. You can go back to that first video and watch it on my timeline there. And it helps you know to be specific, measurable, achievable, make achievable goals, make them relevant, and make them time bound so that you are able to put things in context, put a deadline to the things that you're doing, make it structured, and then over time ensure that it builds small little steps, little by little over time that builds to the bigger goal. But how you build these small little steps and these small little steps is by being habitual. And how you build up the habit is to at the point when you don't feel as if you're ready to do such a thing is to do it anyways. Is to reach out to somebody to make sure that you do the thing that you said you were going to do. Is to ask a mentor or somebody who has been through this path before, some of the challenges and how to overcome them better. So if you're going to try to run a 5K and you say you presume you're going to beat somebody who has been doing it for a long time or a pro or somebody other athletes out there, you're just fooling yourself. Because first of all, you need to practice the 5K. And some people, if they're skilled enough and if they're trained enough and also serious enough, will actually go on the exact track that they're going to do the exact course, go on the exact course, run it multiple times, and do it over and over until they feel the pace of the thing they're doing in the same environment. The next thing you need to ensure you do is that you are doing things that will allow you to do the thing that you're supposed to. So if you want to train for a 5K and you're going to practice short, and you're going to ensure you do it in a similar environment, but are you going to know, ensure that you're properly taking in nutrients, which builds your body to make it at the optimal level to perform the exercise? Are you going to also exercise the muscles, whether it is your core or to exercise the um the leg and the thigh muscles, and or to train yourself to check the timing of the things you're doing, all in your brain to go and do the things that you need to do. And they're all connected. So maybe as you go along, the first thing you're going to do is try to make yourself at a pace that you reach to a point that is a fast time. And then when you're training and then modulating to see how best you are, you increase the proper nutrients in your body so you're properly fueled. And then as you're training some more, now you start to make sure you're in the gym apart from running on the track or in the open space where the 5K will be, to then ensure that you are in the right environment for the things you need to do. And then when you're in the gym, you're going to practice to get your muscle bulk and the firing of the parts of your muscle that are needed for that specific task to work well and to be at its optimal level so that you can then excel at what you were trying to achieve. Now, I showed you some simple steps and some simple timelines and some simple ways, but what you're doing is setting a habit so that you are continuing to be motivated to then do the things that you were hoping to do. And that lends us to now become what they call a high performer. And the more your habits form, where you go and you do something repetitively and you keep doing it consistently, your performance increases. It's a loop. One of the great speakers out there says there's something called a performance and aptitude kind of loop, where it is that the more you do something and then do it consistently, the more you become excellent at it, and the more you become a master at it, and the better you perform at it. And then the more you are able to also show others the same thing. And then the more you're able to even adapt in different environments and still do that same task. And that is the formula for productivity. But how you got there was through the vision that you had, setting some goals, being habitually consistent in the good habits, being motivated, being productive, and performing at high levels. Coming this week and also for other weeks coming up. You can check that website, johnnyalcott.com/finish strong 2025. You will see the link somewhere in the comments when you check this later. You can come to a session where I will go through these things in more depth and also use persons who may come on as the example so it becomes supremely clear as to how to plan for goals and do them well. You are sitting on a mind that allowed us to go to the moon and send things to Mars and send out telescopes that can see a wider, you know, H extra HD expanse of the known universe. You are sitting on a mind that was able to figure out some things in relation to the theory of relativity and how time and matter and space coincide so that we can exist and be. You are sitting on a mind that caused me tonight to be able to stream into somewhere on a phone and see some things on a laptop and have a mouse connected to the laptop and have power coming into the laptop device. And even the mouse isn't even connected to the laptop. It is moving by a wireless connection. And the phone is not hooked up to the internet. It is through what they call Wi-Fi and it's connected wirelessly to the internet. The internet has a fiber optic cable that goes into something that then sends through a broadband to go up into the air so that now it's connected to a platform and people from different parts of the world, not just where I am in Jamaica, can connect and see and look at something. These imaginations, these thoughts came from minds that thought of some things, put them down, plan them, and then put them out into the atmosphere. Why do you think that you are any less? You are no less than the persons who created the internet, that helped to get us to space, that helped to build telescopes, that helped to figure out theories of things in relation to physics. And you can stretch your mind to the best of what you can do, complete tasks, figure out who you are as a person and your aim, put your vision boards together, plan, and complete what you want to complete in your life. You can finish strong. And it is my hope for you that you do your work to the best of your abilities and join me where we can talk in even deeper truths in relation to some things on goal planning and vision boarding. See you soon. Bless you.